No, but seriously. Welcome back to
No, but seriously, the podcast that keeps it real, keeps it honest, but not too serious.
I'm Anna.
And I'm Jamaica.
And we have two guests with us today. Can y'all introduce yourselves?
Yes, sir. Hi, everybody. DWAYNE from episode Heartbreak. Let's call it that.
Oh, I thought you were looking for a number. I'm like,
I wasn't going to try to get it wrong from Heartbreak.
I'm Leo, also from some episode in season 1, maybe.
early on.
Yeah, very early.
Shout out to Leo.
Yeah.
For supporting
to
us
me.
from the beginning. Leo's the reason we're all sitting here. Y'all know that?
Oh.
Literally.
I bring community together.
You're the reason me and
Something
Anna
like
are
that.
friends.
Oh,
The
yeah.
reason that we met,
Yeah.
Look at
I won't
that.
get into those things. 'cause
That's
Anna
another
was
episode.
A different person then.
Another episode.
You were a different person then?
Anna.
Oh, Anna was a different person then.
I was racist apparently back then. So.
At least you admit it now. Cheers to racism.
hey, cheers to you, bro. Like,
I don't think you were racist. I think you were just. What's the word when you only want to talk to people in Spanish? Like, what is that? What is that?
fucking
What
racist.
is the
What
word
the
for when you only want to...
Because she would
racist?
only talk to people in Spanish. Like, she would only talk to people who spoke Spanish.
I wouldn't just speak to them in Spanish.
But you only talk to the people that spoke Spanish.
That's your
I think there's
narrative.
a word, but I'm going to try to create one. Spanish exclusionary supremacist.
There's a word for that. It's called. It's a fucking racist.
I don't think that's racist.
All right, moving
I feel
past
like
that.
it sounds a little softer than racist. Anyways,
So this is not going to get monetized
no.
because we just said racist like a million times.
No, we're
Well,
not there yet.
we haven't reached whatever
Monetization.
Yes, level. Anyways,
So
Not
you're
yet.
Gucci.
Not yet.
maybe this episode will put us on the map.
This one's gonna
What is
go
this
viral.
episode about?
Cut.
It's a perfect introduction.
Well,
What is
in
this
our
ep-
last
hold on.
episode,
What is this episode about?
In our last episode, Leo, you had some comments about our last episode.
yeah, because we were talking about teachers in the classroom and if they go beyond teaching or if they're willing to go beyond teaching. And you said it would be good to talk about.
That topic.
That's fair.
I don't remember exactly.
Do you want me to pull up
that
receipts?
language? Yeah.
Yeah, what you said?
But I think it was more geared towards the concept of traditional learning versus more of a developmental approach to life in general. Because I don't have any issues with like any specific. I have issues with specific teachers. I don't have like
Same.
issues with like
Same.
teachers and teaching in general. I do have an issue with more of a systemic issue, specifically when we deep dive into like CPS and the trajectory that they've taken.
Now. Like
Oh.
as of today, like where they're at today.
Where they're at today, where they were when I was in high school.
Okay.
It's been a downward spiral for quite a few times. I mean, ever since the inception of traditional schooling, which was made to really emphasize and push to create workers, factory workers, right? The kids weren't allowed to go into the factories because of laws. So they needed a way to train them for when they were old enough to get put into, right? So that's why you have the lining up, the bells, asking your boss to use the washroom and all these things, which were commonplace back then and still are. Like if you look at Amazon and things like that, and capitalism. Sorry, went on a little tirade there. But like not even now, right? It's more geared towards the prison industrial complex. So it's not necessarily gearing up people for these factory jobs, but now it is taking a turn since I want to say maybe 50s, 60s to push people, to push students, young people towards prison, towards being normalizing walking through metal detectors, normalizing SROs, police officers, guns in the school system, and all these things. So just that system in general, from the moment you walk in, is not built to develop young minds.
Right. And that's me coming from a school that they go through metal detectors and an x-ray machine. Yeah. So I'm like, and for teachers to push for that, I just had a conversation with the 8th grade team where they asked me and they said, hey, for the luncheon that's coming up, can you make sure they go through the metal detectors before they head out for the luncheon? And I'm like, so you want them to go through it when they come in and then when they go back out?
Can you say more about, like, when the teachers want them to go through it?
Like what, as to the why?
Yeah, like why? What are they looking for?
The main concern for them right now is the vape pens. When I've explained to them numerous times that they are so small now, the metal detector is not going to detect it anymore. And I've explained to them as well, if and when they do detect it and they have it in their bra, I'm like, I'm not going to go pat them down, But their main concern is, well, vaping is an issue at school and clearly CPS isn't doing nothing. Let's at least minimize it by having them go through the metal detectors.
I don't know how that minimizes it.
Right.
Like us catching the vape pens. Like,
right,
how
but
does
in
that...
their head, it's like, we catch it, we keep it, we confiscate it, boom. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not the
That doesn't
root
solve
of
the
it.
problem.
Right.
Yeah.
What is your title?
So my title is Youth Intervention Specialist, but I do a lot of like the discipline work, and I work with administration for discipline, but then I help, like, if a kid's like, hey, Miss Martinez, can I have a circle with so-and-so? So I go help with that.
So this falls under like the restorative justice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what happens when a young person gets caught with a vape pen?
We confiscate it, call parents, let them know. I refer to the behavioral health team, and then we talk about next steps for that.
And what would be the next step?
I've been pushing to have a substance use counselor at our school, just because I've seen such a high need, especially because I've seen 5th graders with vape pens. But we haven't had like a substance use counselor, right? So they usually, whoever has room on their caseload is who takes that student to try to navigate through that.
I just feel like it's one of you and it's how many teachers, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like everybody could be addressing this, but it's left to the youth intervention specialist.
I mean, I don't want to demonize the teachers yet. So I understand that aspect, right? Because a lot of teachers are not trained, and I would rather them not intervene in certain things. Like, I'm thinking of teachers that I had in my childhood. Mm-hmm. And if like one of these older white ladies came up to me and was like, stop doing drugs, like, I'd be like, yo, get the hell away from me, right? And not only that, but like a lot of them were racist. And like, I'd rather not have this conversation of like what's leading me into like dependency or substance use.
With a teacher?
With a teacher that's racist and like I actively dislike.
Right.
However, if there is a full counseling team, I do think that, and CPS is honest about being restorative, they do need to implement those things.
So
right?
This school year, I actually went to a substance use, like addressing substance use in the school, because now CPS found funding to now have like higher ups with substance use, like clinicians, right? And like how they're trying to educate, right, lower down, like people like me or people like the principal on how to better address substance use. And now there's like a referral system.
And they're putting Narcan in all the schools, which is a good thing.
Like they're slowly, moving towards that. To me, it's not fast enough because they're getting younger and younger. Like I've had 5th graders.
Intervention is great, but prevention works wonders.
Right.
It saves lives.
Right.
So,
but that's another thing, though.
On that front?
Like, so luckily I'm at a school that has a bunch of resources. Like, I am super lucky to be where I'm at. And that they're very open to restorative and just open to getting feedback. So they also have what they call community schools at our school. So it's just another agency that works with schools to bring in things like prevention.
Isn't that
Metropolitan does that?
Yeah.
In schools, Chicago? Who is that?
Yeah. See.
Yeah. So
Rashana?
Rashana.
So Pilsen
Shout out.
Wellness is
Shout out Rashawn Taylor. Like,
so
dope.
Pilsen Wellness has come to our school for prevention. But one of the last
Pilsen
presentations they did for our current, I believe our current 8th grade now, it made it seem like, oh, look at all these flavors that they have now.
It was like selling it.
Right. Like,
What?
I walked into the presentation and I'm like, what?
They call it the kids flavors?
No. That they said, look at all these flavors that there is for like vape pens and things like that. So it made it seem like they were like encouraging them versus like telling them not to.
Was it more like, I mean, just to give them the benefit of the doubt? Maybe it was like maybe more of them explaining like there's all these different types out there, like you don't know.
Them explaining it, right?
Yeah.
It was that.
For sure.
But me coming in, not really fully seeing everything. Like I was like, wait, what? Like they over here talking about bubble gum and all these flavors, and I'm like, yeah, no, we're not doing that again. So, but they're getting there slowly.
I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, Leo, but I don't think the answer is for like a teacher to just avoid it because a kid doesn't like me.
Well, no, obviously you don't avoid it, but you also do not leave clinical conversations to non-clinical staff.
Well, yeah, but I'm not.
As a clinician.
Well, I'm not telling them to be their therapist, but I think that they can give some education for sure. Or like, you know what I mean? Like you see this kid more often than their therapist does. Like there is room for you to intervene, and that is my frustration, is I don't feel like teachers intervene. Honestly, my experience with teachers is like parents, like where they'll be like, fix them, and then
Right.
you know,
That's
like
not fair to both the people who work in the school system. It's not fair for parents to say things like that to the practitioners.
no, it's not. Yeah.
No, and I've heard teachers.
But I mean, it's a reality. It's not fair and it's not right, but like it's a reality. They think that the kid is the problem when everybody plays a role. Like parent can be doing education, teachers can be doing, like y'all see this kid more than I do.
For sure. But here's the thing. My challenge becomes the system versus what else is out there. The system sucks and it doesn't work. And we've known that it doesn't work for years. And we keep trying to do the same thing over and over and over. And I'm like, at a certain point, like, how far do we have to go until we realize, like, no, this actually sucks. This doesn't work for our kids. Like, did it work for you?
Did what work?
The traditional school system.
I mean, I feel like I'm an exception, not the rule.
That wasn't an answer.
I mean, if you look at my life, then, like you would say, like I'm successful, and,
Right.
like you know, but like
That
I feel
wasn't
like
an answer. Did the traditional school system work for you?
I mean, I don't know what you mean by that specifically. Like, did it get me to where I am? Probably. I don't know.
So I think like just going off of that, if you look at me, right? So like, I'm leading programs for like a national organization. I am an elected official. Did the traditional schooling system work for me? If you look at it, yeah. In reality, I was kicked out. CPS tried to bring charges on me. I had a lot of racist teachers. I had a lot of teachers who didn't give a damn, who were just there for the paycheck. So no, right? In actuality, no. But through my grit, I was able to figure it out. Through community, I was able to get these mentors and get this knowledge from people not from school. I think that's kind of where you're going, right? Like,
Yeah.
Well,
did
I
you
mean,
feel seen? Did you feel validated in your school?
honestly, I flew under the radar. Like I was like one of the smart kids. So like I was one of the ones that kind of get ignored. So I don't know if it really had, like I didn't have that experience of like getting kicked out and like basically being persecuted. You know, like I didn't have that experience because I just kind of flew under the radar.
That's fair.
I think I mean, this is a topic for another situation, but I had more problems outside of school than I did in school.
And is that a successful story that you were ignored in the back?
Well, no, I mean, I don't know if it's successful because I have kids now that I feel like are the smart kids, but they struggle heavily with like anxiety or depression, and they are often ignored and they fly under the radar, and it's
Yep.
not
That's my
helpful.
thing of like,
yeah.
what does it mean to be the smart kid or the bad kid? Like those are labels that school puts on us. Like, in school, I was the bad kid. And, you know, growing up now, I work with Leo, and they're like, no, like, you are the person that does these things. But labels create these weird dynamics that, like, you're not the kind of person that does these things. Where I stayed back in 9th grade, and my family never knew. And I said to my guidance counselor, like, yo, like, I know I stayed back. I didn't do my due. But is there something I can do to, you know, get past this? And she went, yeah, you can do ROTC. So I did. So I graduated on time, and she never told my parents. That's a problem.
It is a problem.
My parents never knew that I didn't graduate on time.
Also, like, I feel like that's a different scenario that you even had a guidance counselor that you felt like you could go to and say that to. I don't think I've ever had anybody that I would, like, be like, what do I do? Like,
Are you saying the plus or
I think
or
it's
negative?
It's kind of a plus that you had that. Yeah, that
I had a teacher or a person that I could go to and who would lie to my parents.
No, I'm not saying that, but that you had a person that you could go to, period. Not that what they did was right as a result of that. I'm talking about your initiation of going to them and asking, like,
for help.
What can I do to make sure I pass? That. What they did after, no.
That's fair.
But the access that you had was something.
Because I think that's something I push at the school that I'm at. Like the building relationships with students. Like I've told, you know, when they've come and asked me for support, I'm like, well, did you even try building a relationship with this student? Did you even try to get to know this student? And I've seen racist teachers. I've seen a white teacher cry in the BHT for a white student. And, you know, she wants to save the kid, right? And she's crying in BHT, but there's another student who's in the same grade level who is a black student. She's not in BHT crying for that student, you know, and I've seen it, right? So this white teacher also went and bought shoes for this white student to be on, I forgot whatever team he's on. But not once did she say, hey, this is a student who's also who I see, you know, that's the black student. While I'm over here worrying about both, you know, like I'm like, we can't pick and choose. You know, and when they ask for support with some of these kids, I'm like, try to actually get to know them. Instead of having lunch with your coworkers, go and have lunch with this kid. Check in with them at the end of the classroom. It takes 30 seconds to try to at least get to know this kid and build a relationship with this kid. Because I've asked kids, give me at least 2 adults whom you think you have a relationship with in the whole entire school. It doesn't have to be your teacher. It can be the lunch lady for all I care. Some kids tell me no one. Like no one in the school. And that's heartbreaking to me that I'm like, they feel like they can't even go and, how you said, go and have that one person they can say, hey, can you know, help me with A, B, or C?
What do you want them to do?
At least not be standing in the hallway like this, you know? Like
I think it takes like 5 seconds out of your day to like build rapport with somebody, even if it's just like, hey, how you doing? You know, like, you know,
if nothing else is working, at least start there. Start building a relationship with some of these students. The students that usually are smart and stuff, yeah, some of those students can tell me, oh, well, miss this and miss that or whatever. But those students who are labeled as bad kids, they don't even say good morning to them.
Yeah, small stuff like that makes a difference. Like Miss So-and-so at least says hi to me, you know? Instead of like, I feel like honestly, a lot of kids only hear from a teacher or only talk to a teacher when they're in trouble.
Right.
Yeah. And that is negative reinforcement. Like, so it's like, I know when I go to you, it's for punishment,
right.
You know, or when I hear from you, it's for punishment. Or when you say my name, it's something bad, you know? So like, it takes nothing to just try and switch that a little bit.
Want to go back to Anna saying the smart kid?
I had so many things. Yeah, go ahead.
I think, right, not to put words in your mouth, but I think we're looking for like emotional maturity, right? Because you could be the most intelligent person in the world, But in order to identify people who you see in your support system, there needs to be some type of maturity in that, right?
Right.
And I agree with Jamaica when you're saying that you need to have your community as your support, right? And teachers are part of that support system. Do I think that they're the best or the most qualified to have the conversations? Probably not. But do I agree that they could build rapport and be part of that community? Yeah. And I think it's an interesting system, or what's it called? There's like a lot of bodies living together.
Symbiosis.
Yeah, I mean it's like an interesting like environment, right? Like
I don't know that word.
like where people
I
are
thought
just
of
like
cells.
yeah, right. A lot of cells living together,
Yeah.
and they all do their little role,
Yeah.
and make sure things are operating properly, and that's how a school should work, right? Everyone doing their little role, and looking at the young person holistically to make sure that they're successful in whatever it is that they
What they need,
whatever
you know.
the young person feels is their success, right? Which goes into the other issue with school system, a standardized version of what success is, right? DWAYNE is gonna probably break this down better than I can, but the unjustness of everyone having to get straight A's or getting this measurement, or when you're taking standardized testing, things of that nature, how all of those things are one related to each other, right? So person A, person B, person C, you all need to do this exact same outcome. I don't care if you're struggling at home. I don't care if your parents are sick. I don't care if you had anything to eat this morning. And it's crippling to our young people and to our society as a whole, right? Because then the people with maybe not that type of mindset or that type of learning strength end up falling through the cracks, end up working at like a fast food chain. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they had the ability to go do something else. They just didn't have the scholarships, the school backing, the letter from the dean or whatever it is. And it creates a big hole in people thinking outside the box and thinking abstractly, which really hurts how we progress as a society.
What's really scary for me is that I grew up as a kid who was left out and who was made to feel like I don't have a place in society. And I stayed back, and everyone said he's not the kind of kid that does this. So when I had these opportunities that did come to my, into my face, I went, I'm not the kind of kid that does this. I can't do that. I won't. And people like Leo coming into my school, I went, I don't align with him because I'm the quiet kid that doesn't, I'm a troublemaker. And teachers, the people who were supposed, like, your job is to push us forward. I had teachers that said, that's not for him. He's not the kind of guy. No. We had like organizations that came in and went, I'm giving you a free program. It's for anybody. And they went, yeah, everybody, but not him. Like, talk to everybody else, but like, he's going to be quiet. And this is how we expect everything to move forward. So like, there's moments where I realize that I don't give a fuck about teaching or learning or, like our traditional school system because it's flawed, because it's human. And I'm human too, and I understand that I'm flawed and all the different things, but I want to go in a place where people are like Leo.
I mean, I think the reality is like you learn nothing about life in school. Like you just don't. And like I think that was like the original conversation is like what is going back to the beginning, like what are teachers taught when they're being educated on how to be teachers? And like
it's bullshit.
What?
It's bullshit.
Right, but I don't think that they're taught that they're a part of this system in a kid's life, and like how do you play a role to like better
And a positive role.
Yes, a positive role, hopefully. A positive role to better each kid's life, you know? And I get it. It's a lot to manage. Like, classrooms are big. Like, there's a lot of kids and all of that. But, like, it's still your job. You signed up for this. You know what I mean?
It's funny what you had said, because I have a whole grade level that has not gone on a field trip because of the bad behaviors that are happening. And I'm sitting here like, bro, just go. Like, you know, like, if y'all need support, I'm here to support, and I can take those bad kids y'all don't want to take, you know? And it sucks because it's like they see all these other kids go on the field trip, and then they're just like, I've heard teachers tell the kids, oh, this week was so good. I was actually thinking of maybe we can go on a field trip, but look at what y'all did. And I'm like,
That's so crazy.
Yeah,
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
in the hallway as like, you know, a big group of kids who just did get, you know, quote unquote in trouble, right? And I'm like,
That's crazy.
yeah, you know,
Behaviors is an interesting thing to call it. I mean, we call it performance in different ways, but young people who decide to perform a particular way, like, we decide and figure out, like, there's more things happening than just what you're doing. You act out because there's something happening. And
Y'all
no
call
one-
it performing.
I see why.
And
they
I would call it
performance.
symptoms. It's a symptom of something.
We call it performance.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, we say, like, if you're with your friends on a Friday night, you go into a party, you have a certain way you talk to your friends. Me and Leo are going out. I'm going to talk to Leo a certain way. He and I are going to speak a particular way. We're going to talk. Fast forward, we have a great night. Once we get home, he goes to his mom. I go to my mom. We speak differently. You're like, oh, that's a performance of, like, given who's in the room, my scene changes, my character changes. You can do that wherever, but especially growing up in the hood, like, you're not allowed to do more than one thing. You have to be who you are. No, fuck you. How dare you try to change who you are? You trying to better yourself? Like, you ain't shit. Mm-hmm. How dare you try to leave me behind? Like, that's what happens in our communities. That doesn't happen in, you know, affluent white communities where, like, you're trying to better yourself. That's amazing. Good for you. But we are like, who the fuck do you think you are? That you are talking to these white people and, like, having conversations that I can't have.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Like, you must think you're better than me. And you're actually worse.
But I am better.
I was about to say, and is. No.
I could see the stains in your socks. Like, you trash. But it's so fucked up. And it's so, and just,
No, I mean, I get it. Like, so I have to deal with that outside of school, and then I got to go in school and deal with all the rules that I'm breaking, you know, which most of the rules are BS anyways. Like, who comes up with this stuff?
They're constructs, right? they're social constructs. What is a rule? What is a law? It's all made up by whatever system you're in, right? Because in my mind, poverty should be a crime. You're allowing someone to go hungry, you should get arrested,
Yeah.
right? Wage theft, you should be arrested. But it's the biggest crime that happens in the U.S. Similarly with our young people, you failing this young person should be against the rules,
should be a crime.
right? Like, you should be losing your job. But there's teachers with tenure. There's teachers that are checked out already, that they're, like, ready to retire. 2 more years and I'm out of here.
The 10-year thing, I just don't understand that. I just don't understand that. Like, you could be, like, a horrible person in your role, and because you have been here so long.
It's just politics, too.
Like, I just,
Like, come on.
because there's other positions that have tenure too. Like, I just don't understand it at all. Like, it's time for you to pack it up.
And I've seen teachers try to leave, but because they earn so much, other schools might not be able to pay for that. So they stay at the school that they don't want to be in, you know? And I'm sitting
And
there
it shows
like,
in
yes.
your work and in
the
your.
way you talk to these kids and the way that you're roaming the hallways and the way that you're complaining to me about how the lunchroom is going, that I'm like, bro, just Stop.
Here's the thing: our kids are in a weird place that we haven't been in before. Like we have not been in this place where our kids are, and they are holding us accountable in new ways that scare the shit out of me. Leo and I were in a situation a couple months ago where I had said to the kids, "I'm gonna be with you every week. Like we're gonna do this. We're gonna meet." And they went, "Yeah, sure. It sounds good. I trust Dwayne. I trust Leo. We're good." And then I started traveling for work. I was in Dallas and New York and San Francisco and New Jersey. So I missed our Chicago kids for weeks. And we came to graduation. I was like, all right, I'm trying to do like some improv. And they were like, nigga, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No. And I went, all right, come on. We got to do a thing. And they were like, no. I'm not going to do shit till you tell me where you were.
Because they notice.
There was a moment it was like, how dare you? Like, you're a kid. I'm an adult. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
I went, no, I told you I'd be here.
And you weren't.
And I wasn't. And Leo looked at me like,
yeah. Yeah.
you said.
And you weren't.
You said you was going to be here and you wasn't. I went, fuck. So I had to have it come with Jesus. The moment that it happened, they all went, cool, we're done. We can do it. But it's that moment of our kids are expecting more from our adults.
And if you can be, honestly, like in my experience, if you can be transparent and real with them, they are pretty understanding. Like you just have to be real and not fake it and like come up with BS lies that you think that they're going to fall for. Like just be real. Like I did tell y'all like I was going to be here. And then a lot of things happened and I'm sorry, you know,
Right,
not but, and then, you know.
But being able to even do that, you know, like it I have teachers like, oh, he needs to apologize to the whole classroom before he can come in. And I'm like, okay, but are you going to also apologize to the kid for the way you acted towards this kid?
Well, that's punishment, right? That's shame.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Targeting. And that shouldn't be allowed in school.
No, I know.
And again, back
but
to like
they've told me this.
what's not allowed is a construct, right? That should not be allowed in schools.
I know, but
To make somebody apologize.
Or like when they would sit you in the front of the class and like you're the only person next to the teacher.
Oh yeah,
Like, that was me a lot of the time, and I was like,
but it's still
Really?
allowed. Like they've had
they used
these
to make us in
conversations
the
with me.
hallway.
That's crazy.
And I've sat there and I said, no, you are not banning this kid from your classroom just because he didn't apologize for calling you a bitch or whatever the case is. He is going and I'm walking him to class and you are not going to tell him no. Like that is a right to his education. He has a right to that. He's going to go to class, bro.
He has a right to not apologize either if he's not sorry. Like that's an ego thing.
and I get, right? You want to, let's say you have a class of 30. There's 2 disruptive students. I get it. It's a whole lot easier to
Right.
segregate them.
100%. I
move
get that
them
too.
out. However, you became a teacher for the improvement and the betterment of our young people and the next generation. Just because things get tough does not mean you shut that door.
Right.
Right.
You don't kick the kid out. That's my thing.
Oh, when did we? I was saying something, wasn't I?
Yeah.
But I don't remember what it was.
Right? Everyone make the exact same face. That way no one could tell that it was a cut.
I don't know. It was back to what we were like. Why this originally? Oh, yeah, back to like why classroom management. Yeah, we don't think that teachers learn classroom management when they are being educated, and that like makes a big difference. And I think
How I guess how do you mean that? Like for those who are not teachers, classroom manager means what to you?
classroom management is like we're in class and somebody has what would be called a problematic behavior or something that is taken away from whatever I'm teaching, or less like some kid is having some behavior, like a kid gets up and yells or something, you know, like how do you manage that as a teacher versus like just kicking them out? Like where is that learned? Like I don't think that they're taught that in school. Like when you have a kid that disrupts the class, kick them out. Like I think that that's taught when you start actually teaching and you see
culture.
Yeah. So I'm like wondering like what's actually taught when they're in school. I think that's why we wanted to have a
to
teacher,
tell us,
to explain to us, like, what are you actually taught?
I'm down to come for a teacher talk.
The problem is, like, I've had people offer, but nobody teaches, like, core classes. Like, it's been, like, a music teacher or an art teacher. Like, nobody teaches, like, English or math. Like, yeah. One of those, like, core classes.
Are a little bit harder.
I was like, you
manage,
see more
right?
of the behaviors in classes such as music, art.
Yeah, because if you're having art, the kids think this is fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm allowed to be myself, and they bring more energy, and and you're trying to get them to come back and do a pop play or something.
Or it's the opposite. It's super boring, so I'm just gonna roam the hallways.
I mean, but even the word, like, to me, words are important. When people say, like, things like behaviors, to us, like, after school practitioners, at least in the role and the work that I do, it's not behaviors, it's a performance. Or behaviors mean, like, you're doing something wrong, like I'm shaking my finger at you, like you're behaving badly.
I think that that's what's taught, but I think that there are good behaviors and what's seen as maybe negative behaviors.
But the fact that you're saying that there's a good and a negative means that there's two different things that you can do. And I think that there's more than just two. I think there are performances that people can do, or just behaviors of just point blank period. This is how I'm performing in this moment, where it's unfair to say good or bad, where I'm literally being who I am given my circumstances. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna act a particular way. And if someone says you're behaving badly, fuck you. I'm fucking hungry. That's not fair. And how can we govern those based on words of, like, your behavior is bad, when there are so many different circumstances that come into that, when the behavior is something that comes in based on a very limited perspective of how this child is acting in the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the word bad, so I'm with you on that.
It might be a strong word.
Yeah, I mean, it's, like, it just reminds me of, like, they're just a bad kid. Like, I don't like the word bad.
I was a bad kid. I stayed back. I gave everybody shit. I was the kid that was like, I'm not doing homework because it's stupid. It doesn't make sense. I spoke to my teacher and went, I can tell you everything about this book. And she was like, so he read the book. He gets it. He understands. And I was like, yeah, I get it. I'm not doing this homework because it's stupid.
Did they actually ask you that? Like,
yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know if kids are even asked, like, why are you doing this? Like,
they asked me, and I went, because it's stupid. And they failed me, and they left me back. I stayed back, and then I did what I needed to do. I took the correct classes to get extra credit.
But I also think it's more than, like, see, like, the therapist in me would be like, what do you mean by, like, that's stupid? Like, why is it stupid?
I'll tell you why it's stupid.
Yeah.
Because I stayed back in 9th grade, right? And then I took ROTC because they had extra credits. And I graduated on time. And my parents never knew about that.
So that makes the homework stupid.
The system is stupid. If I can do that, if I can just take one different class and subvent everything else that happened, something's wrong. That I can just do one extra thing, and I've actually subvented an entire year of work.
But do you hear it? Like, you just gave me more. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of people would have been like, you said it's stupid, and then they would have been like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but I want to know, like, what do you think is stupid? And, like, the system is stupid. Like, it doesn't work. Yeah. What we're doing doesn't matter because I can do this and still get the same outcome. That is more of an answer than I feel like anybody even tries to get from kids.
Homework is stupid.
I
want to get into that.
Bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong, but, like, it's more like there's more meaning behind the stupid. Is my point, and nobody gets behind, like, more than just labeling it.
10
stupid.
years old,
and even before getting to that, I think the pandemic showed a lot of teachers and administrators the realities of young people's houses, right? Where you don't have a space to be quiet, where you don't have any privacy, where you don't have a table to be able to write your homework, where we had a young person that didn't have a light. We had to literally send them a light during the pandemic. But it's like, these are the realities that our young people are going through. And for you to say, hey, I need you to do this essay, when you don't know if they have Wi-Fi, you don't know if they have a computer, you don't know if they have all these things, and have these expectations of them, again, based on a standardized version of teaching, is ridiculous, right? So even before you get into like the systemic flaws with it, the human flaws are maxed out.
No, I mean, even if they even understand it, honestly, like a lot of kids I see don't even understand what they're supposed to be doing, you know, like, and that is a teaching flaw. Like, you are teaching as if they all understand the exact same way, and they don't.
Can you blame teachers for that?
A lot of teachers are teaching based off a curriculum that was bought.
Leah, like,
I understand that, but like, does that make it okay?
to who?
You know what I mean? Like,
Because who you're trying to blame?
there's a lot of, like, even in my profession, like, pretty much all the modalities that exist were based on white people. They are not fit for
Are we trying
brown
to blame
people.
them?
Brown
I
people,
don't get down
but
with
I
that.
hold myself responsible because I'm the clinician here, and so I need
So
to
you
make
cater
a
to the
way.
needs
Yes,
of the
I need to
person.
make a way to make it work. So I don't think that you can. It explains it, but I don't think you can continue to use that as excuse, because then we just keep staying where we're at.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it goes to feed into like the system issue. No,
Go ahead.
I think it goes to feed into the system issue,
got
right?
some.
Because there's like all these little things that we've talked about,
Yeah.
from, you know, CPS approving certain curriculum to the principal buying those curriculums that, you know, head of whatever is. Sometimes those are older teachers that may be a little separated from what's happening.
Too.
Or the young ones. But like, it becomes like this thing where it's like multi-pronged systemic failures that affect ultimately the young person, right? And become failures to that young person. And like I said, ultimately to us, right? Because they're going to be our doctors one day.
Yeah.
They're going to be
They're
all
going to
these
be our
things.
therapist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, what are we doing, and why aren't we getting ahead of this, right? We saw that it doesn't work. This project does not work. We've seen it does not work. Why aren't we trying to fix this?
Because a lot of people are not seeing it that way. Just with CPS trying to bring in restorative into the schools, I've had teachers tell me, well, what's my buy-in, Miss Martinez, for restorative?
Sorry, what?
Like,
What's
what's my
my
buy-in for restorative? Because we had done like a graph to see where teachers are in understanding restorative, like you doing restorative practices yourselves. Where is it? A lot of it was like still on the punitive side. And a lot of them said, well, what's my buy-in?
I don't think that there's anything wrong with that question, because we do need a buy-in to what we're doing. Like, even the work that all of us are doing, we have a buy-in into why we're doing it. And so I don't have a problem with them asking that. They do need to figure out what the buy-in is.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
But when it's been years of somebody also explaining to them, I'm like, I'm not the first restorative person here, you know? I'm just continuing the work, whoever started this work. And you're still asking what it is when it's been years.
Yeah.
But that could be an education flaw too. You know, that could be a communication flaw. Like, how has it been communicated? How has it been implemented?
I can't sit here on good faith and say, like, our young people are in good hands with our education system. So I guess, like, whatever you want to say, do you trust our education system to support our kids?
But whose fault is that? Like, that's like who?
Everyone.
Right. That's my
Joe
point.
Biden.
Like, it goes like, I think you said something about like, well, you can't hold that against teachers. Yes, we can. Like, it's everybody's responsibility.
But it's not just teachers.
No. Oh, no.
I
Not
think
just
there's
teachers.
no space for blame. I think there's place for accountability, right?
Yeah.
And I think, like you're saying, the teaching of a teacher, right? What goes into that? I've heard a lot
where
of
we gotta partner.
rebuttals from teachers that say, well, I'm not a clinician. I'm not a therapist. I'm not trained in restorative justice. And I think that in college, they should start.
Right. That's what we've
implementing
been
those
saying.
things,
Yeah,
right?
that's our point. Yeah.
But equally, just because you're taught something does not mean that it's going to stick.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
But I do think that it is a start to start having those conversations and having those courses for teachers, whether it's, you know, more than a Psych 101 class or more than a Social 101 class. Having RJ as a mandatory thing for everyone working in systems with young people, and getting back to like the teachers, right? So societal wise, our country, our beautiful land of America, is default.
So weird.
It has a lot of defaults, right?
So strange.
Yeah.
One of the defaults is punitive. You did something, you're gonna get in trouble,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah, brother. You know, like, and that's what it is. You do something, you wronged me in some way. I want you to pay for this.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a default, and that's challenging. That is super hard.
Yeah.
Right.
No, trust me.
Same thing when we're talking about like racism, and same things when we're talking about capitalism. These are our defaults. Like you have to actively work against these systems and these thought processes to be able to push back effectively. There's another thing. Goodness gracious.
Teachers?
I don't know. But I think
Yeah, just go with that.
yeah, I mean, I just feel like it needs to, like, a lot of change can happen on the individual level, and I just feel like people are passing the buck, and I'm just kind of tired of it.
I think people are passing the buck for sure, and I really want people to connect with our kids. Like, I've had so many moments when people have had conversation with me. It's like very impactful, thoughtful, spiritual, but it means nothing compared to somebody just being a person with me. Mm-hmm. If I would have had somebody like Leo, like just be a person with me, it might have changed who I was. It's not fair that everyone doesn't get that, because certain systems are put in place where our kids can't have that.
Well, that development through the cracks.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
I feel like, and this is not to attack teachers at all. Like, I just feel like
'em.
it's missing.
No, fuck them.
It's really missing on an individual level, because in my mind, and I might be wrong about this, but in my mind, if you want to go teach young people, you have to have some sort of passion or interest in young people. Otherwise, you would go teach something else. Like, I think it goes beyond just, I want to teach. Like, I want to teach this age range for a reason. And I feel like it becomes more about the teaching and the learning and the lessons and less about the kid.
I don't know. Because
I could be wrong, but
Right.
you know,
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I just feel like we miss out on who we're teaching.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and we just get stuck on the teaching.
But what if the person that you're quote unquote teaching doesn't know that they're being taught until it's too late?
It's never too late. I don't think that it's ever too late.
Sure. For me, like, people who tried to teach me things, I never knew about it until it was already past the mark.
We're all planting seeds. So you operate as if you're planting seeds. They may not get it now, but they may get it later.
you might not even be present for that.
Yeah.
For them to fully
You
understand.
know, I think that's what I do. Like, most people, I feel like, don't get it now. But later down the line, they're going to remember something some of the work that I did with them. And I don't have to get the credit for that. I don't have to see it. It's not about me. It's about them. And I think that teachers sometimes want the credit, or schools maybe want the credit. And that is an immediate right now thing. Like, kids are graduating, kids are going to college because that's what they measure, going to college.
And there's counselors. I don't want to throw any of my counselors under the bus, but there's
No, fuck it.
but there's
But they want
there's counselors
Miss
that want
Sanchez?
that.
Yeah, they want the glory. And it's
Yeah.
not
know that's good.
And they
We
would
like
feed
Miss
on
Sanchez.
whatever crisis that happened, and that they help support that. They want that credit for a whole month, so that they can just be like, well, I already helped that one day. And it's like, no, bro, this isn't a one day thing and you're done. Like, you had to show up every day, you know?
And it's not like, well, I tried, you know, like,
Right.
okay, try again.
Right.
You know, like.
Me and Dwayne go into a lot of schools, right? And we often see like the teachers or counselors. They'll bring us young people after they hear about the program, and they're like, "This person's really smart. They're really good. They're gonna do great in your program." And like they'll raise them up and like, this is the one. This guy right here. And me and Dwayne are like, cool, right? Like,
that kid.
we'll meet this kid. We'll invite
Fuck
this
that
kid. But it's like you're saying, they want to see this person, and they cherish this young person so much because they had an impact with them. And a lot of the times, me and Dwayne will have young people come through the program, and we don't see the growth that time. We may see it in a few months when they come back to talk to us during another thing. I'm thinking about one specific young person who was always late, who would spend like an hour in the bathroom getting ready before like our workshops. Really not engaged. And we had a conversation with them, right? And it was like, hey, are you in or not, right? Because we're not holding up a gun to you. You're coming to this because you thought it was a good idea. All we did was invite you. But we're going to need more from you if you're going to stay engaged, or else you could try again next time. And the young person took that challenge on, right? And it wasn't like a night to day, but it was a progression of, I am going to do better because you all believed in me. You all are challenging me. You're holding me accountable. To the point where like they spoke during our last function, which was like 200 people in the room, and they took the stage and they were able to like articulate like what had happened with them and like part of their projection to there. And like, that's amazing to see, but ultimately we don't get to see a lot of these things, right?
Yeah.
I often talk about like measurements of success, and like I think of one of my young people from like 2014 who I met him maybe a month after he had gotten shot twice. He was really involved, in a gang. While he was working with me, one of his friends had gotten shot, murdered, and he was like really trying to go get retaliation. And like, I literally had to hold him down and be like, you need to calm down. Like, do not go out right now. Like, you may hate me, you may cuss me out. I don't give a, And like looking at it now, like he's managing a warehouse. He has his family. He has a house that he's renting. He has a car. And to me, that is success. Other people may see it and be like, oh, he's still impoverished. Oh, he's still, living in like an unsafe neighborhood. And that's all right. Right? Because where he was towards where he is, like the amount of human development that occurred, it might not be a straight A student. It might be one of those forgotten kids. He didn't graduate, so he's not successful, in the traditional educational wise.
Yeah.
But he is successful in his life, in his role as a father, as a factory worker. And in my eyes, he's successful because I know where he started, right?
Yeah.
And I know that any type of growth is success in my eyes.
But that's, on an individual scale, and schools are not individual at all.
And it's hard when they make those small like successes, and then you're seeing that, right? Because you're working with the kid one-on-one, but then whatever happens in the classroom, the teacher is like, oh, but they did this, and I'm like, bro, at least they went to class. Like, this kid didn't go to your class, and now that they're going, but you're like, oh no, but they're still doing XYZ, and I'm like, bro, at least they're there.
Yeah.
Like, that's my success. They're there, they're going, and they're on time. Just because they got up and went to the bathroom without asking you, it's not my fault.
Yeah. But I mean, that's my going back to like the whole like negative reinforcement. There's no celebration of even the small things. Like, even let's say a kid that you have to call home for whatever reason every single day, and today you didn't. You know what I mean? Like, do you even tell them that? Like, you did so good today. Like,
I know I do.
Yeah. Like, or I'm gonna call home and say that you did so good today instead of it always being negative.
I personally do, because when I initially started, that was my narrative. Every time I walked into a classroom, hey, I need so and so. Ooh, what did you do? You're with Miss Martina, and I'm like, I didn't like that narrative. For me, at least, I didn't like that. If I'm gonna get you, then it can be either, I'm gonna tell you have detention at the school, or it's gonna be, hey, I just want to check in with you. Like, how are you doing? unfortunately, this past semester, you know, it was sad. It was not that same narrative, but you know, I'm slowly building that again this semester, and now they're not as like, you know, on edge when they see me.
And like you're developing this rapport and this culture of who you are and what your role is in the school. And we often talk about it. It's not linear, right? So it's okay to have years or months or semesters where like, oh, Ms. Martinez is the bad news person, right? Because you're ultimately trying to build this thing that's going to be long term, right? So I think that's amazing, and thank you for playing that role in your school.
Yeah, because I'm
need
like
more Ms. Martinez's in your school and across.
Yes, we need at least 2 per school because
we need 2 Ms. Martinez's at every school.
And radio be going off, and I'm like, I'm about to quit, y'all. Y'all need to stop.
Not even just like thankful for you being who you are, but the people that Leo and I are, we need to have somebody who fucks with us in school.
Yeah.
To say, I trust Leo.
Same.
I'll bring him. You say same, but schools don't work the same way that we do.
They don't. No, but I'm saying like I need somebody in the school in
y'all
that capacity.
Just come to my school. I got
yeah.
But like
that sounds good. Like,
I hear it though, and that's why I say I'm very fortunate to be at the school that I'm at, because I can say, hey, I'm gonna have this kid work with this clinician, and I know they got him, and they're gonna have my support. So yeah, there's certain clinicians I work more with because those, kids have a lot more needs than other kids, but at least I know that they have that one person in the school that it's like, hey, you're building that relationship with them as well. Then let's work together, so that they can get to where they need to be.
Yeah.
Do you trust Leo?
Nah, not all the time. Sometimes. 9 out of 10, I trust them.
Ooh, 9 out of 10.
That's enough. I can work with that. Jamaica, do you trust Leo?
Do I trust Leo? Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Do you trust us, Leo?
Hell no. Trust y'all to make messes.
That's a good thing, though.
That's
a good thing. Yeah.
That's our goal.
I need somebody to make a mess.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Where you going with this, DWAYNE?
Yeah, where were you going with if we trust Leo?
I think that we do a better job than anybody else.
Yeah. You don't know us professionally. Like, we all know each other professionally.
I don't have to know you. I know him.
Yeah.
And I know that nobody does what he and I do or can do. So if I'm about what I say, I'm about young people. I moved to Chicago for young people because I could do this anywhere. I moved here and I found him, and he pushed me. So
I'm gonna cry.
I know. First,
I feel like he's pushed all of us. He definitely pushed me personally.
And you've pushed somebody that's not in this room that always reminds me.
Well, I don't know who that is. I was like, I don't know who that is.
Sounds coded. I don't know what's happening there.
there was a lot back there. There was a lot back there.
She'd be afraid to come when Leo's around. She's like, oh, he pushes me. And I'm like,
no, but I think that the difference is we're open to being pushed, because I've tried to push teachers and stuff, and they get uncomfortable and they run from the uncomfortability, and I get uncomfortable from Leo like often, but that's also I know that that's something I should be working on because I'm uncomfortable.
Right, because some teachers don't want to do some of the things. I've told them, I'm like, well, you're telling me that the kids send the N-word in the classroom. Well, did you have that conversation with that kid too? And they're like, oh, no, here you go.
You gotta make them say it back. Be in your uncomfortability. No,
Say
I'm
it to
kidding.
the
Don't
kid,
do
But
that.
it's
Don't do that.
opposite. Like you get uncomfortable and you run from it.
Making that back is crazy.
You run from it, and then you want to pass it to somebody else because it's easier for me to not deal with it.
Yeah.
And he's made me uncomfortable. And I'm like, he get on my damn nerves. But that's also why I'm like, it's something I need to work on.
So you get what I'm saying? Like, in so many ways, so many places, so many words. This motherfucker.
All right, this ain't about
Let's
me.
give Leo his flowers right now.
It's not about me.
But he
Where's
can't
the
be.
clap
We can
button?
celebrate you though. Like, you know, like I don't think that we do that enough. Like it's,
I
you
don't
know,
think that
like
anybody does it enough.
yeah, to
And
celebrate the impact that you've had on our lives. It makes, like I said, you are the
I don't-
reason we're all sitting here
I
right
don't know
now.
that I'd be here in Chicago if still. I moved here in 2021. I wouldn't be here if he wasn't here.
Yeah. And we wouldn't be friends. We wouldn't have this podcast. Like
Right.
we would not be sitting here right now.
So make sure to like and subscribe.
Go listen to Leo's podcast.
Yeah, Leo has a podcast, so yeah, go listen to him.
Boring. It's about
He
politics.
doesn't talk about situationships.
I mean, I appreciate y'all for that, making me be in my uncomfortness in front of this camera, in front of millions of viewers, hopefully, because it's gonna go viral.
All 7.
This is the episode.
This is an episode that's going viral.
Somebody watching was like,
Not all
so
7.
who's
He
that
just
girl
tried to
that's like,
shade
chill out,
us.
Chill out.
Hey, you see, y'all need to drop your handles so people could come and like, hey,
Oh
No,
yeah.
no.
slide in the DMs.
Well, we drop our Instagram and stuff for our podcast.
I
So
want people to hit on you.
in our
In
podcast,
the podcast.
in our podcast DMs.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's
Back
So
on
we can
topic.
both see it.
Y'all are scatterbrained. Let's go back to the topic now. I think the wine's starting to hit.
I need food for real.
No, we just celebrate the fact that you encouraged us to do the work that we
That
do
we're doing
now.
right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
Big
In
shout
a
out
way,
to
in a
Leo,
different
bro.
way. Like honestly, you've created opportunities for me to do it, and you know, with other people. So you know, I'm very appreciative of that. You know, and it's probably stuff that I wouldn't have done had I not met you.
Facts.
And you push us to push others.
I'd like to say that I don't know none about nothing except how to build community.
Right, but that starts at an individual level. You know.
And that's a foundation of a lot of things.
It's a
you know?
relationship more than anything else.
Yeah.
I think it's time and opportunity, and I feel like every time I've been with y'all, it's always like gotten to something else. The other one being like it got to Cancer, this one being it got to Leo. And I'm okay with that
Appreciate it.
because I appreciate you.
Yeah. What a love fest.
People are gonna be
It
watching
is-
this.
it is
And
gonna
now
be-
they're gonna be like
it's gonna be
sappy ass.
February, so
It is.
down.
Maybe it's the Valentine's Day vibes that we got
Yes.
right now.
you got pink going on.
Oh, I do.
That's okay.
I think it's the wine. I don't know what's wrong with
What do we
y'all
have?
right now?
What the fuck?
No, I was literally.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
No, I was thinking
Sponsored
about
by-
that before we filmed the episode. I'm like, Leo is literally the reason we even know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all knew each other. Y'all just didn't talk.
Yeah, I mean, me and Anna had known each other for months.
I met them
yeah.
at your party.
Yeah.
Well, cheers
Oh,
to
shit.
that, y'all.
Yeah. But we known each
Oh, y'all
other.
got nothing to cheer with.
Yeah,
We
there we
got-
go.
Bit. Fucking. Bow. It was trash. All right.
All right. Well, I have a question for
It's
y'all.
okay.
Moving away from the sappiness.
Yes.
Okay.
What is the difference in your mind, if there is one, between learning and developing?
When I think of learning, I think of like 2 + 2 = 4.
Okay.
That's what I think of. And development goes further than that.
Could you give an example for learning?
So for development is like building that relationship with like my peers, like in the classroom.
Development is what I feel like is not taught. Like development into like who you are or who you want to be. You know, like I just feel like that is not happening. Like that is not a focus. I think learning is like the book stuff.
Right.
You know, the shit that I don't even think about now that we were taught. Like, you know how much stuff we were taught that I literally don't think about at all in my day-to-day life. But the development is like, how do I manage relationships? How do I manage stress?
conflict.
You know, when I have to, how do I manage things that I have to do that I don't necessarily want to do? You know, like how do I manage life really? And I just don't feel like that's taught in school at all. I don't want to say at all, but enough. For sure. Because I'm sure there's some teachers out there teaching it, but it just does not happen enough.
Yeah, some teachers be preaching. in the classrooms.
Yeah, I have other thoughts, but there's those TikTok teachers, but are they doing it for real, or is that
one TikTok
a TikTok gimmick?
just to get monetized?
I like the
on
teacher
TikTok.
that.
I digress.
Well, I was gonna say I like the teacher that has the students order his lunch.
Oh, I've not seen that one.
That's all it is. That's all his TikToks are.
I saw that.
My students ordered my lunch today.
Oh,
What did
I
they
have not
order
seen
me?
Really?
Yeah, no, it's the thing.
There is one teacher who teaches like money management and like
I've seen that.
life concepts, and like that I feel like is development, and that is not taught.
Because they tie it into like math.
So wait,
the money.
what is the development that?
Like I feel like she teaches them like what they're, living life towards. Like they have to pay rent, they have to work jobs, types of things in the classroom,
like passing out papers is a job, and
like stuff like that are like positions that they have, and I just feel like that develops you more into maybe what you like or don't like just stuff that you're gonna have to do in life, period. Like whether you like it or not. Like we all gonna have to pay bills, we all have to pay rent, we all gonna have to make money somehow, whether that's a 9-to-5 job or something else. But like somehow you have to make money, and I just feel like it's a creative way of them also learning math. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you can do both together, but I don't think that they do both together.
So I think what you're explaining is life skills, right? And yeah, there is development in those life skills, right? Like how to change a tire, how to be a person in the world, right? How to file your taxes.
That's not
how to fill out a W-4, because those things are wild.
Yeah.
That nobody ever teaches you.
That's
how to change the oil in the car.
That's like you're literally developing skills for life, but learning this thing, right? And there's so much more, right? People often say, I've talked to like older teachers, and they often say, school is a place for learning. That is wild, right?
That's
because
wrong.
I'm here
That's
to
wrong.
socialize.
Right.
I'm here to figure out what it is to interact with authority.
Yeah.
I'm here to do so much more promptness, like all these other things that come with just being in this space, right? How to love, right?
Right, but I feel like that's learning too, though. Like that's why it's both. It's learning and
really?
Like
that's not learning. Like how to like have relationships, how to respond to like that. It's a concept of learning. Like you're taking in.
I think that goes more into development to me.
I feel like it's both.
No. Why do you feel like it's both?
No.
No.
Love that.
I'm just wrong.
The reason I say this is because I've had students like, I've asked them like, you're always late, but why do you come, right? Like, why do you still come when it's like 10 in the morning, right? Class starts at like 8, Why do you still come? And it's that. Well, I'm here to see my friends. I'm here to be, socializing. I'm here to, do X, Y, Z. They're not saying I'm here to learn.
Well, I mean, socialization is an important part of school. Like,
it is.
Or eating.
So what do you say?
Yeah, some do come for that too. They come just in time for lunch.
So Jamaica, what do you say?
Or to get away from school. I mean, to get away from home.
Safe place, yeah.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
I feel like you had like you bristled up.
No, I feel like some form of development is also learning. Like I feel like there's a combination of both. Are you not taking it? Learning to me is taking in new material. Maybe it's not book stuff. Like I'm not talking about like arithmetic, but you're still taking in new material. That is learning to me. So I feel like it's a combination of both.
Learning is you and Anna are in the same room at our old organization. You guys know how to talk to people, how to make friends. Developing is you guys actually exercising
those skills,
building that muscle.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Another, right? Because you all knew how to talk to people.
I mean,
right? You had friends.
I
You had friends.
Yeah, I have friends. Yeah, I don't know
for some
about
reason,
her, but I have friends.
Y'all weren't, right?
I was friends with everybody. She wasn't.
Hey yo.
Hey, you want to do some role playing?
Anna was a fucking asshole.
You want to do some role playing?
Do you want to role play?
Yeah, you want to do some role playing with me?
Go ahead. Do it. Go ahead.
You're saying development was us actually
Applying
talking
that.
to each other?
Jamaica, he's not talking to you. He's talking to me.
Being what?
Being uncomfortable. Like you had your thoughts of what Anna was doing. Oh, she only wants to talk to the Spanish people.
I tried talking to her.
You see, now you're getting defensive.
There we go. That was it.
No, I'm just saying. But I did try talking to her. I just quickly realized that I didn't speak Spanish. No, I'm just playing.
So she was like,
So in traditional learning, you try to create a friend, figure something out, got shut down. That was the end of it. That was your development.
Yeah.
Boom. And then something else happened, right?
and
And you
then
went into
Honestly,
that
I don't know if I was trying to be her friend, but I talked to everybody there. You know what I mean? So like, I did make efforts to talk to her. Like, but I don't think it was me. Like, oh, I want to be her friend. Like, or I want to build our friendship. That happened because we had you in common. I think. You know, and so then you kind of meshed us together.
y'all
But I
remember
don't
this
think-
more than I do, so. So I'm like,
I was drunk.
But if you're at like, I
wasn't
don't.
there.
I get what you're
You
saying.
wanna
I
do a
get what
thing?
you're saying though.
Do you think?
Yeah. Ask me. You lead it.
I'll leave it. Check me out. Here's where we play with learning versus development.
Okay. That was what this whole episode was about, but we're just now getting to it.
I'm gonna. Can we pretend?
Yeah.
Is that cool?
yeah.
Y'all cool pretending?
You're cool.
Yeah, we're cool pretending.
Can you help me pick this up? Thank you. It's heavy.
Oh, yeah.
This is a big book. It's a
Okay.
big book.
Oh, you have it now? It's 'cause it's over there.
You know he got it.
Okay.
I've been in the gym. Like
Oh, okay.
Jamaica, hold this.
I got you. I've been
It's
in the
super
gym.
heavy. Yes, it's very heavy.
I've been lifting weights.
It's a book.
Yes.
That book is the autobiography of Michael Phelps. You know who Michael Phelps is.
Yes.
He's the most decorated Olympic swimmer
Right.
in the world. Like no one has more than 9 or 10 gold medals. And he's won every single one. Mm-hmm. That book that you're holding, bro, it's heavy.
It is very heavy. I'm wondering when I can put it down.
It doesn't look heavy.
Well, I'm straining. I've been at the gym though, so
You've been in the gym, right? My fault.
Yeah, like I'm not.
Leo and I, like, we fuck with this book every day.
Yes.
We know everything about this book.
Can you put
Beginning
it
to
down?
end. No, she can't put it down. You fucking racist. What do you think? She's not strong?
She looks like she's struggling.
She's just, it's a lot, but come on, finish so I can put it down. Come on.
Look, Anna, ask me what's on one of the pages.
Huh?
Give me a page. number.
Ask him what's
167.
167. It's his regiment when he was in high school, and he ate chicken, broccoli, sautéed, and a cup of milk.
Okay.
we know this book back and front. Clearly. Leo's read every single page. So he's learned what's in this book. But he's never been in the water.
Same.
Next week, Leo and I are going to the lake.
She said same. Yes.
Go ahead.
We're going to the lake. Being who I am, I'm an asshole. I'm going to push him in. What happens to Leo?
Just because you read don't mean you know how to swim. I read a lot of shit. I did not know how to swim.
Have you tried swimming before?
I have not, but I know the book.
Oh, so you think you
I know
can
I
swim?
know I gotta do this.
Yeah, but that don't mean you can swim. So what?
can
do you-
swim.
Huh?
He could swim.
Okay.
I mean, he's won medals.
Right. He practiced.
So it's your first time in the water? I believe in you. You can do it.
Thank you, Ed.
Do you genuinely think he's going to survive?
I mean, he could. He might jump in there and know how to swim.
Yeah. For all I know.
But I think the
Would you
chances are
bet your
slim.
family member?
Would I what?
Would you bet your family member on that? On the strength of...
Depends on who.
Depending on who it is.
On the strength that he will be able to swim by just jumping in there, no.
That he would be able to live.
Oh.
He'd jump in the water.
How deep is the water?
But you there. You ain't
It's
gonna
the
jump in
fucking
and
lake,
save
dog.
him?
It's the fucking lake.
You ain't gonna jump in and save him?
For
No.
what? He read the
He's
book.
the one pushing him.
He fucking learned. I pushed
No,
this
I'm
nigga.
not gonna bet nothing on it, but like, yeah. I'm not
So
gonna
what's
bet
the
nothing.
difference?
What's the difference
He
between what?
learned how to do it.
He hasn't applied.
I don't think he learned how to do it. I think he
read
read how to do it.
So
He
check it.
memorized how to do it.
I know the exact mechanics if you ask
I
me.
think Leo. I think you have one.
You have one what?
You gonna say something?
What is that color of this wall right here?
Blue. It's an ugly blue.
It's like a light blue, right?
The ugly
Yeah.
blue. Ugly blue.
I painted the rest, but this is a lot.
All right, so then let me say, all right.
I get what y'all are trying to get
as
at.
a leading authority in the room, that is baby blue.
Okay.
I got it right.
Everyone understands that?
Okay.
Baby blue.
Right.
Okay. So, we're gonna pause and let a week, 2 pass. Then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna say, hey Anna, what color is that wall?
Baby blue.
Hey.
Right. Round of applause. You got an A, 100% on the test.
Okay.
Right? I told you this thing. You remembered it,
Right.
right? And then Jamaica didn't though.
Oh. Sex
Jamaica gets an F.
Fucking dummy.
And now you're smarter than Jamaica. And now you're eligible for this scholarship. And now you're eligible for this school. And Jamaica has to really either work her ass off
She got
or
another try.
go
Pretty
to
accurate.
to another school,
Racist.
Very racist.
based on this because we did it 52 times because there's 52 weeks. And now you're smarter. Now you have more. You're awarded more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does it?
No, I mean we get what you're saying. Is that
Right.
what you mean? But the concept, no, don't make sense. But we understand what you just said. Yes.
But that's what learning is.
So learning has become.
Learning's fucking dumb, and it has nothing to do with your accolades.
So that is different.
So then
that's
going
not
back-
what learning is, but that is what has become.
Are you sure?
That's my opinion of it. Yes, like you just said it. Like that's what it's become. I don't think that that's what it
Initially was.
Yeah, it is, or it's meant to be. I think that that's what the schools have created it to be.
Do you hear what you're saying?
Yes, I hear exactly what I'm saying. And you disagree.
I don't disagree. I think that schools are fucked, and it creates an opportunity for all of us to be blindsided
By
to
it?
decide to defend school systems.
I'm not
I don't
defending
think
the
I
school.
don't think Jamaica's defending.
I'm not defending school at all.
I think we're all on the
it's
same
fucked
page
up
that
that's
it's
what it's
fucked up, right.
become. But I don't think that that is what learning is. And I'm not saying learning just in the school environment. I think you learn outside of school. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's what schools have made learning to be. I'm thinking learning in the bigger concept. I'm learning stuff all the time. And I'm not in school anymore.
In the field that you're in, what would you like from after-school practitioners?
From after-school practitioners?
Non-clinical.
Non-clinical after-school practitioners. I think generally I would like more discussion on like what's actually going on in kids' lives, like because I may see them at most maybe 1 hour a week, and then they're in after school every day probably
60% of the time.
Yeah, and I feel like is recreation fun? Yes, and is it needed? Yes. Like, but I also feel like there needs to be spaces in after school programs where we talk about like real stuff going on, you know, like real stuff impacting their lives. And I think that that could happen in school too. I mean, that's, you know, we got a long way to go for that, but I would like to see more of that happening, more than just let's go,
Color this page.
yeah. Or here go a bunch of, you know, like let's just give you a space to go to after school. You know, where nobody really engages with them. At least, or they, you know, just play basketball for an hour, you know, like, and is that important? Yes, they need to be like doing recreational stuff, but I also feel like we need to like monopolize the time that we have them too, to like engage with each other too. I feel like after school programs could be a great space to like hold groups. And I don't think that that's done. But like, you know, it's just a whole system. Like I can only do so much in an hour, and the people outside of me have much more of an impact because you see them more, you're around them more. The parents, the teachers, the after school people, like. But nobody wants to do anything. Oh, they're in therapy. Like, oh, you'll do it in therapy. Oh, talk to your therapist about it. Yeah. Well, okay, we could talk about it here too. Mm-hmm. What did you learn in therapy this week? Let's practice that. Like, you know what I mean? Like that type of stuff. Like, kids and people would be more successful.
Is that something you want for your kids?
What?
Is that something you want for your kids?
What are you asking me?
Exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. I want my kids to like be in therapy, be in after school programs, like be supported like in their entire community outside of just me. Yeah.
You should call Leo.
Tap into you, Leo.
Yeah. But I just feel like we're too siloed. You know, like the therapist is doing one thing, the school is doing something else, the after school program is doing something else. Like,
so you're saying you think it'd be better if everybody was on the same page in the same situation, like the teachers, the practitioners, everybody in the same building doing the same thing?
Not in the same building, but like if we're all like working towards the same goal, I just feel like we aren't all working towards the same goal. Yeah.
Like, all right, no bullshit. We are. Mm-hmm. But what does it look like?
We are what?
Working
towards the same goal?
I give a fuck about the kids.
Yeah.
So do you.
Yes.
So,
Anna doesn't.
But
Anna don't give a fuck.
No, I feel like some people, I'm not saying you specifically. I feel like a lot of people and even clinicians will say, I give a fuck about these people, but don't show that in their work. You know, like it's one thing to say like, this is what I'm really into and this is what I want to do. But it's another thing to actually practice it. And it goes beyond that room. Like it goes like into like trying to like engage with the after school people, trying to engage with the parents. A lot of people don't want to deal with parents. You know, like, and it like.
For what? I don't know what I'm
No, but I have a lot of ideas. There's a lot of things I want to do. There's a lot of education that needs to happen, like with teachers, with parents, even with kids. Like I would love to do like, you know, that is my vision. How it plays out, not sure yet, but that is my vision. Yes.
To all work together.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You know. And that's in all areas of somebody's life, you know. I mean, we're talking about just kids, but, you know, that may mean going to after school programs and educating them too. You know, they aren't clinicians like you say, but I do think people can have like some counseling skills. I don't think that gives you a pass. Like, no, that's not what I do. Yeah, it's not what you do. Like, you know, so don't open certain doors, but there are things that you can do. So, because I can't do it all.
Allow me to radicalize your audience for a while.
Okay.
I agree with what you're saying. Mm-hmm. We do need holistic wraparound services for not only young people, but for parents, for the teachers to be able to get, you know, was it personal development, professional development, whatever it's called.
Both.
Clinicians to continue getting their CTUs. We do workshops. We talk to each other. We talk to other practitioners of after school programming. And we're always looking to develop our skills. I feel like that isn't incentivized as much by these systems as, hey, just get your license. Mm-hmm. You don't need to really put things into play. You can keep doing the exact same thing that you did without your license. Mm-hmm. But now with your license, you're getting more money, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And because you did that, the state is going to give us more funding for the organization, which is going to go into overhead, not necessarily to direct care. And it becomes this, like what's it called? Nonprofit industrial complex that's feeding into the school to prison nexus, which is feeding into so many other things, right? And it all becomes down to capitalism, right? Because my parents cannot be engaged in my schooling if they have 2 jobs.
Period.
My parents cannot come to this field trip and be the chaperone because they're not awarded sick days. They're not awarded personal days because they're working a temp job. And it becomes so many things that all stem from this capitalistic environment that we're living in.
Definitely.
Because money comes first. Not our young people.
Right.
Our young people could relate to this system once they're able to work, when they become workers and consumers. Then we give a fuck about them.
Hey, even then, like, I just feel like I had this conversation a few weeks ago with people I work with, like, even nonprofits, like, we want you to get better, but you don't really want me to get better because you make money on the fact that I'm not better.
Working yourself out of a job.
Like, that's my goal, but I feel like nonprofits operate in a way that, like, they don't really make it where people actually get better because they benefit financially on the fact that people aren't better. And it drives me crazy. Like, that's why it's so hard for me to work in the nonprofit arena because, like, it's like a for-profit business, but we just tax differently. Like, and so it's just annoying. Like, I want people to get better. I want you to not have to ever see me again.
So what are you doing to combat it?
I do the best work I can individually. Systematically. I mean, I'm a supervisor now, so again, unfortunately. No, I'm just kidding. Not unfortunately. So I do feel like hopefully I have more influence on what goes above, but even those systems are just as hard to penetrate as school systems are. And it's exhausting. I'm not going to lie. It's exhausting.
But I do think it's a step forward, right? Because there's that saying that's like, good employees don't leave bad companies, they leave bad supervisors, right? Or bad management. And I think being that person that advocates in the room, that's able to push back towards oppressive thoughts and more traditional mindsets is super key, right? Like, I have Dwayne. Dwayne loves to get into it with, our higher ups, not because he's an asshole. I mean, he likes to be an asshole, but not because he's an asshole, but because he genuinely cares about what's happening to our young people and the direct care that we're providing.
No, it matters.
And similar to him, like, I wouldn't be where we're at if it wasn't for him and if I didn't have someone that I could ride with, right? And I think it's super important that you're in your role, that Anna is there pushing on behalf of the young people, because so many other young people would have dropped out if Anna wasn't there. Right? Like, that's the reality. They wouldn't have had someone as an advocate for them in this oppressive system. And they would have been like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. Right? The number of 7th and 8th graders in CPS that have been dropping out since 2015 has been alarming.
Yeah.
Has been wild. So when I was in school, back in my day, it was high schoolers, right?
Yeah,
like, high schoolers left. And everyone knew you have to be at least 15, 16 to be able to leave without your parents getting in trouble with truancy and all that other shit.
Yeah.
Now it's 7th and 8th graders, right? Yeah. That's just your 12-year-olds. That's your 11-year-olds who are leaving school.
We've had a student like that. She never went to school, basically a dropout, never went. We did home visits, we got parents, but there were just so many needs that family needed that we couldn't even address that one thing of her coming in.
Exactly. And if I don't have enough food to put on the table to feed you, to keep a household, why am I prioritizing your school? No, I need to feed you. I need you to not die. I need you to not get taken away from from child services.
Yeah.
Right.
This is my priority. School, fuck it. Right? As soon as you're old enough to get a job, go get a job and help the family.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the reality that our young people are living in. Again, based off capitalism, right? Because we'd much rather you go into this working field, make me $1 than I am about you being properly educated, being able to socialize, building these things that you're gonna need for your life. And it's so wild, right? And like the fact that people, like you said, people do not have this in the forefront of their mind. And it's wild to me, right? Because I walk down the street, you walk down a house, you don't know what's happening in this house, right? A child could be hungry in there. They could have an eviction notice. They could be facing so many things, mental health issues, all these things. And you're just walking by this house, or you're walking by this child, or you're walking, you know? And it's so wild that people do not think about it in that capacity. And it goes to a lack of care for your community.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, like, I don't know anything. I'm good at building community because I'm going to ask that young person, hey, have you eaten? Do you want a snack? Hey, you want something to drink? They can say no 100 times.
Right.
They go hungry one day. And then I'm the person that was able to give them that, right? Same with the family. We had a mom that came for one of the things that we hosted and like, hey, do you want a tea? Yeah, right? Because she was cold. She came with her child to downtown from God knows where on the train, and they were cold too. And like, you did this effort for your child. Let me reward it. So
Right,
you
for
know
that.
hey, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Let me show you that you are also part of our community. And it's baffling that we have to like pull so many teeth to be able to get a teacher in the room with a counselor, in the room with a young person, in a room with this other young person they might have caused harm with, and for them to just be able to relate to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know some people, it's usually not a scheduling thing. It's more of a buy-in
Wanting
thing.
to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing that I struggle with. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like you don't have time.
We
'cause
could
I
work
know you
out
do.
the schedules.
You
Yeah.
have
It'd be a
prep.
buy-in thing.
You
yeah.
have your lunchtime. We have after school, before school. I can manage with the student. I'll figure it out with the student and the parents. But I need you to also work with me.
And that's like your job would be easier. The work would be easier. The kid would be doing better if we just all work together.
But I think that's one of the things you got to think about. What is actually the goal of certain interactions? Is it for that particular young person? Or is it for the sake of your numbers for the school? Like, where you are. We are not governed by certain things. So we can go by like, this young person needs help. I'm going to get them what they need. Leo is that motherfucker.
DWAYNE forgets that we're doing a podcast.
We're at dinner with Dwayne.
I was having a great time.
Oh, and you breaking our stuff. No, I just
Relax.
I don't know. It's all hard. And it's not just about teachers. It's everywhere. Like, I have problems, and like I said, in nonprofits, and I'm trying to get out eventually.
I have issues with CPD showing up at my school. You know, like it's all over the place.
So I feel like everyone's really sad now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you next steps.
Yeah.
Here's what you could do.
Yeah. It's always discouraging, but I do feel like we are doing as much as at least the ones sitting at this table are doing as much as we can in the systems.
I'm doing the bare minimum, but
There's always more. Anna just said she can do more. And Jamaica, I think you just volunteered yourself.
Well, I'm always advocating. Let's not talk about that. But yeah, so I give pushback even when it's my first time meeting you. Like, I need to know what you're doing and why you think this way and why you make these decisions. So
I'm silent quitting, but that's another conversation.
I used to be like that. I used to quiet quit. And it's just like, you need to know what the problems are. Like, and that does nobody any justice. At least I could say, I told you. You can't say you didn't know.
Right.
You can't say you didn't know. So, but the quiet and quitting is real.
Great. So that was in the past.
Yes.
So are you trying to get down with what's up or not?
What's up?
Don't look at me. I don't know.
Hey, I'm like, what's up?
Do you want to impact what's happening to our young people in Chicago?
Yes.
Then we have some things for
That's why I get up and do what I do every day.
Oh, is that why?
Literally.
That's why?
That's why. Like you said earlier, good. You are here. You came to Chicago for Chicago's youth or whatever. I can't remember what you said. Yeah. But that's why I can't leave. That's why I can't leave. I've thought about it, but that's why I can't.
Leo, you heard that? She's fucked.
Like, it's just like, it's hard to like, you know, like I'm so invested in like people being better, like, you know, Black people specifically being better and like, you know, doing better, even in these, you know, complicated systems that we have to navigate, you know. So it's hard to like leave that unfinished, you know. So I may never leave, you know, so it may always feel unfinished. So, but I'm working on some stuff, so hopefully.
Next steps.
I mean, I agree with you regarding like our people need to do better. However, I do think that it's unjust to ask them to do better in certain situations. I know a lot of young people who have felonies, and we need to go to court and seal things up, and that costs money, right? Other young people other people who like cannot apply to these better positions because they're afraid to lose this job and they're barely making it here. So it's like, how can they see an upward trajectory, right? Unsolved traumas, and like so many other things, where it's like, it just can't be like, I expect my Black people, I expect my brown people to do better,
I'm
right?
not expecting that.
And I'm glad that you're doing the work. But it's because unjust, right? Because it's like, we have to battle this social stigma battle these systems while projecting this happy demeanor, right? Because then you're the Black Mexican in the room. You're the mad Mexican in the room. You're the angry Black woman in the room. And people turn on you like this, right? They can be your own people, right? Sometimes you're like, why are you standing out of pocket right now? You need to sit down because we were awarded these things. You said you're the exception to the rule. You were awarded this thing. You should be happy that you have a master's degree and you have your license. You're a success story. But we should never be comfortable with that. Never. Never stop reaching down, helping your next person up.
I mean, it's just hard. How do I like celebrate that when like I see what I see at work? You know, like, am I grateful for, you know, the things that I've accomplished and what I've done? Yeah, but it's hard to be like, oh, I made it. You know, like when I see people and I listen to their stories and like, you know, and I've been through some stuff too, but like, it's just hard to like celebrate that as if it's something I should like really be standing on.
You go to work the next day.
We celebrate you.
I mean, I do celebrate myself sometimes, but it's hard to like, you know, like stand on that as if that's, you know, everything or enough, you know, when other people are, you know, really fighting and struggling just to like survive mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that.
It is a step in the right direction. I think we do celebrate those, right?
And you do one thing. You can't fight everything at once. You do one thing. I'm going to take my hair out tonight. I'm going to go to work tomorrow with my hair out, like looking Black as fuck. And they're going to have to see me.
It's
That's
hard.
how I honor. That's one step of.
And that takes work. I used to hide my Blackness. Like I wouldn't there was a point where I would never have like come so hard on somebody I was just meeting for the first time.
Hey, yo.
Especially that somebody that sits in a high position at where I work. Like I would never come on so strong. Even if I'm thinking it, I would never say it. And so I'm like, now I'm just like, if I don't say it, who going to?
Who will do it?
Yeah.
Somebody has to.
Yeah. What you were saying something about next steps.
Yeah, organize in your community.
Yeah, for sure. Bam.
There's a lot of amazing programs here. We're in, what is it, like Brighton, McKinley-ish. Like there's Increase the Peace. There's so many organizations that are working with young people who generally do what you're saying, you know,
Treatment,
check in with
trauma.
them, push a little bit more than just like giving a safe space, right? Safe spaces are crucial, but now let's give you the tools to advocate for yourself, right? We have the Peace in Pilsen thing going on in Pilsen. And there's just like so many amazing people doing amazing work that don't get enough shine. And I think volunteering at those spaces demanding more from your older people, from your state reps. They are there because of your vote. Getting involved in politics, like I look at Jamaica and I'm like, yo, a state senator,
me,
a state senator,
no,
like
stop.
writing
Let's get it.
Policy and like actually getting deep into these things. Like
I am not a talking person.
It was he until he did it.
You know, he was a talker.
That wasn't the point.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's people who don't see themselves as politicians and then end up running and like, you know what? Let me advocate for people in this role now. I think that the wrong people continuously get put into these positions because they're the ones that follow the cameras, follow the newspapers, follow all these things. And the right people are the ones who are like, I'm going to be humble and do the work. And that needs to flip.
That's me.
That needs to flip. Because no one knows what our young people and our families need more than the people that have been working with them actively. And then, I mean, I just think saying hello, man. I think there's so much power in like saying hello to a young person that's standing outside on your block, now, you know, at the schools or whatever. And like, I've never had an issue near my house, whether they're like old bangers or new bangers, just because I humanize them, right? There's so many people that dehumanize them, call the cops just because they're standing there, walk across the street. I think just a simple hello is like super vital and creates a relationship, or is the start of a relationship where you might be that person that's like, you know what? Let me help you get that job. Let me help you over here. I know this person that does this. I know DWAYNE that works on resumes. Let me put you over there. Let me plug you in. And like, that could be the start to like a whole other journey for this person, right? The impact that you have with that simple hello is immeasurable. So, I mean, I think these are the next steps, and just like not giving up, man. The systems are actively working against us and we need to push back.
Yeah. All of that. I don't know about the politician part, but all of that.
Jamaica.
I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying.
2025.
And it is the people that talk well, that always, you know, win and do it. And the ones that don't necessarily talk well and that do behind. No, I'm not trying to. I have a hard enough time infiltrating the systems I'm already in. Well, I don't have a hard time infiltrating them. It's just, it's exhausting fighting them. It is. But I do as much advocating as I can in the roles that I am, and affecting as much change as I can on the individual level when I'm in sessions with clients. So it's just hard, you know, like I can do so much, but we fighting against bigger systems, bigger challenges, you know. And it's exhausting and it's discouraging. Honestly, sometimes it's just like some of the work that I do is like, how can I like manage all the shittiness that's happening? You know, like all this stuff that I can't change right now. Like, how do I manage that? And it's just so shitty. Like, even with kids, like, and their parents are so unchanging. And I fight back on parents a lot. I have no problem engaging with parents, like, but sometimes, like, so many parents are so rigid that it's just about teaching the kid, like, just how to manage with the fact that their parent is so rigid and unwilling to change at this moment, you know, and that is discouraging sometimes. That is, you know, the work that I'm doing, because I would, you know, ideally I would love that the parent would want to make some changes too. So there's a lot of work to be done with adults to help kids. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna stop talking now. And we probably all should. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Anyways, any final thoughts, Anna?
I have none.
You have no thoughts?
I'm thinking about what I eat.
Anna's been hungry from the start.
Okay, well, Anna has no thoughts. DWAYNE, do you have any final thoughts?
I mean, I genuinely wish that teachers and after-school practitioners could work closer together to figure out. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm here for the kids, and that's it. And not everybody is. So I think we're figuring out how to discern between who's who.
Mm-hmm.
And fuck y'all if you're not here for the kids.
Period.
Shit like that.
Well, on that note,
Period.
make
Leo.
sure you follow our social
We
medias.
forgot
I
Leo.
already said
Oh,
mine.
Leo said his final
It
thoughts.
was like an hour long.
Yeah, he gave us
Sorry.
next steps. He told me to be a politician. Keep up, Anna.
Yeah, you know, fucking
I
racist.
was thinking about what kind of pizza.
Anyways, follow us on our social medias
NBS Pod.
on TikTok, Instagram.
This has been
YouTube.
No, but seriously, I'm Dwayne.
I'm Leo. These
And
were our guests.
This is our guest, Jamaica and Anna.
Thank y'all so much for coming.
Thank you all so much.
Okay,
Tuning in.
thanks. We'll have
People were
them.
asking for y'all, and y'all taking over. So I don't know what's going on.
The next episode would just be Leo and Dwayne. So
Apparently,
Versus a random teacher we find.
yeah, for real. If there's any teachers that hear this and want to talk to us seriously,
I have
like
2 teachers that wanted to come on. I was like,
you did not communicate that information to us.
it was a different thing. It was a different situation.
Okay. Anyways, well, Dwayne's teachers are not
We'll talk
it.
about that
So
off camera.
if you have any, or if there's any teachers, or you know
Okay, I
any
thought you said
teachers
NBP.
that want to talk to
Young
us
Dwayne.
or combat anything that we said, we are open to that too. Or debate, not combat, debate anything that we said. We are open to that too. So reach out to us again on our social medias. Yeah. So.
Sure.